Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, in our last episode, I started talking about FFLs, Federal Firearms Licenses, and what they are, what they do, and what they can do for you. If you're looking for a business to start, this could be an exciting career for you in the firearms industry. But there are a lot of rules, a lot of restrictions that you have to be aware of. Yesterday in my episode, I spoke about the FFLs, the different types of uh, classes of license, and I even talked about mine briefly. And there is another license that goes along with that I want to talk about, and that's the SOT, Special Occupational Taxpayer. And what that is, it's a license, it's a special license that extends what you're able to do with the different types of FFLs that you have. And there are three different SOTs, Special Occupational Taxpayers. The first class is importation of national importation of any kind of weapon and ammunition from anywhere in the world. That's a class 1, and it's part of the National Firearms Act. And if you're not familiar with that, you really need to go look that up and get information on that. Class 2, that is the manufacturing of weapons, meaning like Colt, Bushmaster, Smith and Wesson, stateside manufacturers who make guns for a living, and so class 2 is a specialized. That's for people that are making guns. Also, that's the class that you need if you're taking components from various manufacturers and assembling and creating a gun. This is also the class that you need to have, the SOT class 2, to manufacture, also to create the serial numbers and registration of each of the weapons. And that's where a lot of people don't fall into place. And that's where we see a lot of the ghost guns. And then class number 3, and that's just strictly retail sales. That's a retailer, like the former Traders Sporting Goods. They lost their FFL because 15% of all of their sales, and they had a lot of sales, 15% were documented to be involved in crimes nationwide. 15% of all of their sales. That's why the owner of Trader Sporting Goods lost his FFL and was banned from ever holding an FFL ever again. And he's not the only one. And there are lots of FFLs that don't adhere to the very strict rules, but it's also very difficult to remove a person who is violating FFL laws and regulations, because there's a lot of documentation, a lot of proof, and a lot of court hearings in order to achieve the losing that license and having the ATF rescind that license. But getting back to SOTs, in order to get an SOT, there is a lot of background checking along with fees. I'm an SOT class 1 because I can sell weapons from anywhere in the world, along with ammunition, along with specialized ammunition to for my own use or for retail sales. What I did with my FFL and my SOT, that helped me to acquire all of the weapons that I needed for my counterterrorism operation, and all of things, everything was documented coming in and out of the country to my areas, to my warehouses, to my staff, and all of my workers. So, and everyone was registered. Every one of the weapons were registered, and so that's one of the other things that you can also do. You can choose not to sell weapons if that's the case, but you would again go back to having type 1 license, which is the basic, and that helps you to transfer weapons. In the case of sales, you can become a transfer dealer, and that one you can make pretty good money. Weapons transfer dealers, if that's all you're going to do, you accept and receive the weapon from wherever, usually directly from the manufacturer, unless it's a private sale. If it's a private sale, then the seller has to bring that weapon to the FFL for transfer, and the fees for that you're expected to pay. Number one, your transfer fee is $125 now in California for any weapon, but also there's a $47.19 registration and background check for the purchaser, and that is required. So the purchaser will have to undergo a background check before the transfer of the weapon. But again, $125 and another $47.19, so essentially $175 is what you would be expected to pay for your fees for the transfer. But that's pretty lucrative, and it's reasonably safe. Whereas if you're selling weapons, and this is especially good business for the home FFL, where you don't have to have a retail outlet. You can operate out of your home quietly and do very well. I know a lot of FFLs that do. But getting back to FFLs, Federal Firearms Licensed Dealers, that abuse their power, there are lots of them because they're not, so to speak, looked at closely, constantly. Their paperwork is scrutinized, but not in the fashion that an investigation would be detailing. So having an FFL and a SOT is a huge, huge responsibility, personally and financially, because there's a lot of money that we're talking about, and you have to renew every 3rd year. Remember that. You have to renew every 3rd year. So all of these fees you have to pay again as part of your license. So it's not a cheap business proposition, and you really do need to either be in the business of retailing and selling of weapons of mass destruction. That's what they call guns and rifles in the ATF, along with explosives, gunpowder to make your own rounds and bullets, So there are a lot of things that come into play here, and the ATF doesn't do a great job after you have your FFL and SOT. They do review you, and every third year you have to go through the background checks, the criminal checks. So let me cover that real quickly. Some of the reviews that you're going to be subject to under an SOT. Number number one, and the most important, is your criminal history. Do you have a criminal background? If you do, you can forget it, because you're not going to get FFL with any kind of criminal background. That's why my background was spotless. It was crystal clear, and the the one little thing that I have on there, it doesn't matter, because carry of a loaded weapon on my criminal history means nothing. That's like a parking ticket, and does not raise a red flag at the ATF. So also, financial stability is highly important. Do you have the finances to run and operate a firearms business, whether it be out of your home or out of a storefront, a commercial storefront? Doesn't matter. You have to show financial stability in order to pass. Also, your personal history is going to be heavily scrutinized, because family members, all your first line family members, and all the way down to sometimes your third level family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, are second and third person reviews, part of your personal history. And my brother, I didn't have as strict. It was still pretty strict because I was already in the system, because 2 years prior, I had a background check done on me by ATF and the FBI for my brother's FFL. And so they already had a lot of information on me. So mine moved through pretty quickly and expediently, whereas a lot can take some period of time to get approved. But if you're already in the system like I was, it moves along pretty quickly. Another thing that they're going to look at, substance abuse. And that may include drug testing. Back when I got mine, it included drug testing. And so I was clean in 1984. I wasn't doing any drugs whatsoever, because I couldn't afford it with my first wife, who ruined me financially and spiritually. And that's why I divorced her, and also in order to get out of the debt that she created, I filed for bankruptcy, and so all that debt bounced back onto her and came off of me. It kept me in the clear. When I applied for my FFL and my SOT, I was financially, I was questionable at that time, because I was working 2 jobs, had a lot of debt because of the ex-wife, but I had enough in there, enough reserves still, that I was approved. So it's not impossible. And even with financial challenges, you can still get approved. Then the other thing that is new, or kind of new, they were just implementing this when I first came in, and that's a mental health evaluation. Mental health evaluation is extremely important these days, and that's what helps to weed out the bad people, the people who are less than ethical, we'll say, and it screens out a lot of them. That mental health, and there are some other relevant factors that they're going to test you on and background check. So Those are the basics, the most important things that you need to know in the event that you're applying for an FFL, Federal Firearms License, and SOT, Special Occupational Taxpayer License, in order to do business as a firearms dealer or distributor in your community. Thanks for joining me today. Hope that helps you out and possibly uh, put you on a good path and career in the firearms industry.